We're tracking the latest on what U.S. officials are calling a Chinese surveillance balloon that's maneuvering east across the United States. The Pentagon says NORAD is monitoring the situation, and right now the balloon does not pose a physical or military threat to the people on the ground. In the wake of the aircraft's discovery, Secretary of State Antony Blinken has postponed a weekend diplomatic trip to China. 12 News reporter Joe Cortez caught up with Senator Jack Reed, who's on the Armed Services Committee. He joins us now with what Reed had to say about all of this. Joe?
Shannon, the Chinese Foreign Ministry said the balloon is a civilian airship used mainly for meteorological research. But earlier today, the Pentagon said they know it's a balloon used for surveillance. We caught up with Senator Jack Reed, who said the U.S. is sending a strong message to China after postponing the Secretary of State's trip to Beijing. A few days after a suspected spy balloon was spotted over U.S. airspace, a senior defense official said the U.S. has, quote, very high confidence it was flying over sensitive sites to collect information. The Chinese Foreign Ministry claims it's a weather research unit.
We are aware of the PRC's statement. However, the fact is we know that it's a surveillance balloon. So the balloon is maneuverable. Clearly, it's violated U.S. airspace.
The balloon was spotted over Montana, which is home to one of the country's 3 nuclear missile silo fields. U.S. officials say they've seen this type of activity before, but this time it's different.
And I think what makes this different is the duration and the length of which it has been over U.S. territory.
NORAD is closely monitoring the situation, and right now the balloon is heading east over the center of the continental U.S.
I don't think it came over on its own will. It was launched and it was directed to enter both the United States and Canadian airspace.
In wake of this discovery, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has now postponed a weekend diplomatic trip to China.
And they have made a very stern decision to signal the Chinese that this type of behavior is not going to be tolerated by postponing Secretary Blinken's trip.
Senator Reed added, the message being sent is that China has to respect international norms and rules.
If they do that, then we can conduct hopefully productive diplomacy. But if they're not following these rules, then, we're not going to have the kind of discussions and diplomacy that we need.
Now, there have been multiple reports saying the balloon was spotted near Kansas City this afternoon. Tonight at 6, we'll hear more from Senator Reed and a Massachusetts congressman on this developing situation. Reporting live in studio, Joe Cortez, 12 News.
We are tracking the latest now on what U.S. officials are calling a Chinese surveillance balloon. The Pentagon says right now the balloon does not pose a physical or military threat to the people on the ground. In the wake of the aircraft's discovery, Secretary of State Antony Blinken has postponed a weekend diplomatic trip to China. 12 News reporter Joe Cortez caught up with local representatives. He joins us now live in studio with what they had to say. Joe?
Mike, Senator Jack Reed said the U.S. is sending a strong message to China after postponing the Secretary of State's trip to Beijing. And Congressman Jake Auchincloss, who is part of the U.S. House Select Committee on China, says this is another example of the deteriorating relationship between the United States and China. U.S. officials say NORAD is closely monitoring the Chinese surveillance balloon, and the Pentagon says the balloon is heading east over the center of the continental U.S.
It was launched and it was directed to enter both the United States and Canadian airspace. But there was serious consideration that we actually take action and shoot it down. And I think the administration made appropriate judgment for several reasons.
The Pentagon recommended against taking out the balloon due to the large debris risk that could affect people on the ground. And now Secretary of Defense Antony Blinken has postponed his trip to China.
The Chinese Communist Party shouldn't be able to surveil sensitive sites in U.S. airspace. It's yet another example of the deteriorating relationship between the two greatest powers in the world. And it underscores the need for the Select Committee on China in the U.S. House of Representatives, of which I'm a member.
Auchincloss stands by the decision of Secretary Blinken to suspend his trip and said it's best for Blinken to re-engage at the right time.
Because if he goes overseas now, this issue is going to be driving the headlines when really he wants to pursue substantive dialogue. It's best to re-engage in that dialogue when it can be done without this distraction.
Senator Reid added this postponement is sending the right message to China over respect for international rules.
But if they're not following these rules, then, we're not going to have the kind of discussions and diplomacy that we need.
Now, we've seen reports from all over with sightings in Kansas City earlier today, and the most recent was in St. Louis. But the Pentagon said they're exploring all options on how they plan to deal with the suspected spy balloon. Live in studio, Joe Cortez, 12 News.